Reasonable accommodations are a crucial part of fair housing, and various federal laws require housing providers to provide them for people with disabilities. We're here to give you essential information to ensure you get the accommodations you need and deserve. We'll cover examples of reasonable accommodations, what housing providers can ask for from a person with a disability, and what to do if the housing provider does not comply with your request for reasonable accommodations. A reasonable accommodation is a change in a rule, policy, practice, or structure that may be necessary to afford somebody with a disability the equal opportunity to use or enjoy their home. Some examples of a housing provider making a reasonable accommodation include assigning parking spaces close to the entrance of the home or building for individuals with disabilities, allowing an assistance dog to reside in the dwelling even if the dog is larger than the property rules allow, not penalizing a tenant for terminating their lease when their disability requires them to move into an assisted living facility. Anyone who has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities can request a reasonable accommodation. Major life activities include, but aren't limited to, walking, seeing, hearing, or caring for oneself. If you are a person with a disability and believe a change needs to be made to the property or the property's policies for you to live there safely and freely, you or your disability service professional should follow these steps. First, make a request to the property management company. This request can be made verbally or in writing at any time during residency or at any time during the application process. Then engage in meaningful dialogue with the property manager. In other words, discuss your needs with them and see what they can feasibly do to accommodate your request. Remember, a request for a reasonable accommodation or modification must show that there is a disability-related need for the change or modification. After you submit a request to a property manager, they may have some questions, but there are some things they can legally ask and some things they cannot. A housing provider can ask for documentation of the existence of a disability and disability-related need if it's not readily apparent, information to help clarify the reasonable accommodation request, and any plausible alternate accommodations. A housing provider cannot ask for specific medical information, such as a diagnosis or list of medications, payment for a reasonable accommodation or to process the request, or for the request to be made in writing. If the property manager denies or ignores your request, contact the Texas Workforce Commission's Civil Rights Division to file a complaint. A complaint can be filed by mail or online. You can also contact the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to file a complaint. Both TWC and HUD can handle fair housing complaints in Texas. For more information and to watch the full reasonable accommodations and modifications webinar, simply scan the QR code. We hope this information empowers you to understand your rights and take action against housing discrimination. Remember, fair housing is everyone's right. Together, we can ensure equal housing opportunities for all.